Now let us discuss sand mold making procedure in the casting process. So before starting any casting process, it is required to prepare the sand mold. Okay, so how do we prepare the sand mold making? Let us see the step-wise procedure. Okay, so initially keep the bottom board on the molding platform or on the floor. So if you see this way, we can keep the bottom board on the molding platform. Okay, so once the bottom board is ready, okay, then place the drag flask upside down on the bottom board such that the pattern is at the center of the flask. So, and also if you see on the bottom board, okay, now the drag flask is placed upside down. Okay, and once it is placed, then maintain the enough clearance between the pattern and the flask walls. Okay, it is necessary to maintain enough clearance between the pattern and the flask walls. Okay, then the third step is, once the uh, upside down drag is ready, then place the sand in the drag and then ram it uniformly. So now the sand is filled, okay, and it is rammed uniformly in the drag pattern. Okay, so once the drag flask is ready, then make some vent holes, okay, of diameter 1 to 2 mm till the pointed end of the drag, so as to escape the gases during the casting process. The vent holes to the drag flask will be prepared as like this. Okay, now the drag is ready. Okay, so the drag is to be rolled over as shown. Okay, so this the drag is rolled over. Once the drag is rolled over, okay, a cork flask will be placed upside to this drag. Okay, so this is the drag and this is the cope. Okay, once the cope and drag are ready, okay, then it is required to keep a sprue. Okay, it is nothing but the flow passage, metal, liquid metal flow passage. Okay, so the sprue will be located at a distance 50 mm from the pattern. Okay, so this is the sprue. So the same way, a riser will also be located. Okay, the riser is to store the liquid metal, okay, and it will pass the liquid metal whenever it is required to the mold cavity. So a riser will also be placed. Okay, once the riser and sprue are placed in the cope side, then near to the sprue a pouring basin is prepared. So this is the pouring basin, okay, so through which the molten metal will be fed to the mold cavity through sprue. So this is a pouring basin. Pouring basin. Okay, so now once the setup is prepared, this cop flask and drag flask both are removed with the aid of draw spikes. Okay, so once these cop flask and drag flask are removed, then the next is to arrange runner and gate in the mold. So this runner and gate are to be prepared in order to control the flow of the liquid metal while it is reaching to the mold cavity. Okay, so the mold cavity with runner and gate is prepared. Now a dry sand core will be prepared with the desired dimension, as this is the core okay, it is with the desired dimension, and this core will be placed inside the mold cavity in order to make the hollow parts. Okay, so the prepared core is now placed in the mold as represented in the figure. So this is the initial mold, and now the core is placed inside the mold. Okay, after all, an appropriate weight is placed on the cope in order to neutralize the metallic forces during the pouring of the liquid metal. So while pouring this liquid metal, because it is very hot and the liquid metal is continuously flowing through the sprue, what will happen is, okay, so some sort of hot metallostatic forces will be developed. These hot metallostatic forces are to be neutralized. Okay, so due to that, what happens, there may be the change in the alignment of this cope and drag. Okay, so in order to avoid such alignment, to maintain the proper alignment and to avoid these alignment disturbances, suitable weight, appropriate weight will be placed on the cope as shown in the figure. Okay, now this is the appropriate weight which is placed on the cope side. Okay, so this is the complete setup of the sand mold making procedure. Okay, now after all this procedure, this mold is ready for liquid metal pouring as shown in the figure. Once again, if you see the complete sand mold making procedure, so this sand mold making procedure, initially we will prepare the drag portion. This is the drag one. Once the drag is prepared, then we go for the preparation of the cope flask. Okay, so after that cope, then we prepare the vent holes for the both. These are the vent holes for both cope and drags. Okay, after all, we will prepare sprue and riser. Okay, then the sprue and riser are prepared. Okay, the next step is to create this runner and gate at the mold cavity. Okay, so after all, we have to prepare a core, dry sand core we can say. Okay, once the preparation is done, then these two are to be aligned, cope and drag patterns are to be aligned. Okay, and in order to avoid the metallostatic forces by the liquid metal, suitable weight will be placed on the cope. So the complete sand mold making procedure is ready. Okay, now the mold is ready for liquid metal pouring.